Hello YouTube, and welcome to what's probably going to be the first video on the Mr. Z Survival channel. I'm going to explain a little bit about the channel, what I want this channel to look like, what the goals are going to be. Essentially what we're going to talk about is how to actually and literally survive a zombie invasion, not tongue-in-cheek BS, not like, oh, let's put, nails in a baseball bat and decide we're prepared for the zombie apocalypse. No, we're actually going to talk about how difficult it is to do that, what preparation looks like, what you need outside of just the ability to kill zombies. You're still going to have a stomach. You're still going to have skin that gets cold. There's still going to be wind and storms. There's going to be no infrastructure. There's going to be no, like, oh my god, it's cold out here in surviving zombie land.
Yeah, let's go to Burlington Coat Factory.
Yeah, let's go to Walmart. It's like, yeah, right. Your world no longer contains these things. Your world no longer contains infrastructure. Now, hopefully, you're in a situation not unlike that depicted in like World War Z, where civilization exists somewhere, just maybe not where you're at. And hopefully, throughout the length of the larger YouTube project that we're going to start, we can discuss and get into things like how that world's going to play out, what it's going to, what it could potentially look like, and more importantly, how valuable and important civilization really is. There's a lot of preppers in this world. There's a lot of people who prepare for disaster that don't comprehend the value of the civilization that they're anticipating could collapse. But anyway, I am Mr. Z Survival, and this is Staggered Dagger.
Staggered Womb.
Staggered Womb, excuse me, whatever. ADD. This is Staggered Womb. This is my buddy. He is not a prepper. He is not a weapons expert. He is not a violent human being in any way, which is exactly why he's here. Because hopefully he will reflect the types of questions that any potential and future audience members will have. Anyway, this first video, we're 2 minutes 20 seconds into it, or thereabouts. This video and some of the more immediate videos we're going to do, we're going to focus on the weapons side, specifically, obviously, the firearm side of zombie defense. So, Stagger, if you could introduce yourself a little, maybe ask a few questions.
Well, I basically don't know anything about zombies or how they could possibly take over the world. I'm basically clueless as far as that goes. I mean, I've seen zombie movies. I know they infect your brain and stuff like that. The virus does, and if you get bit, you're pretty much screwed. But I don't really know about any of this equipment.
Okay.
So the first thing that I really am interested about is your gun over here.
Okay.
What kind of weapon is it, and why is it better for killing zombies than other weapons?
Well, this weapon, this is an SKS, and most viewers are probably going to look at this and, oh, it's an AK. No, this is an SKS. This is a Simonoff carbine. This is a much different and, frankly, much better weapon, at least at its core, than an AK. It's better in a lot of ways than your AK. And a lot of guys will overlook these, oh, those are, these are leftover weapons. It's a poor man's SKS. This is realistically a better system. In its natural form, it's very easy and very honest to criticize this over an SKS, but in its fully modified form, it's a whole different animal. Anyway, this particular one is a Chinese paratrooper model. Anybody who knows anything about SKSs will know this is a lot shorter than your standard SKS. I didn't mod this SKS this way. It came from its factory home in this configuration as far as the barrel is concerned. Now, obviously, it's not in its normal stock. This is an aftermarket stock. This particular one is an older one from a company called ATI. ATI Gunstocks, whatever it's called. I believe their website, atigunstocks.com. They no longer make this model. This was their ultralight folder. They now only make 2 stocks for the SKS. They make what's called a Monte Carlo, which looks like a normal hunting stock, great stock, and then they make like a tactical folding type of stock. The reason why, well, it's actually, I didn't really pick this stock for this gun. I literally picked this gun up in a pawn shop, $250 as is. At the time I had a scope on it, which has since taken off, and won't really get into that. There's a lot of other mods to this that have been done, and they're all very important. So in the SKS world, for example, one of the things that happens is that your bolt itself engages the magazine, which means that when the bolt is forward, you try to put the magazine in, and it doesn't work. Now, another really major thing, most SKSs are not designed for detachable magazines on their own. So your magazines look like this one. This is what's referred to as a duck-billed magazine, because it has this ugly-looking, stupid duck bill in the front of it. Now, it would clip into somewhere around here on a latch point built into the SKS, which the original fixed magazine is designed to latch on in the first place. It would then slide in with the bolt forward and would go into place, and then you would put the bolt closed and you shoot. If you needed to switch things out midway, it wouldn't come out. This sucks. This gun has been modified so that doesn't happen. The other modification that's come into this weapon that I put on there is something called the Marcus magazine adapter system. Now, Marcus is a genius, essentially, and what Marcus has figured out how to do is he's figured out how to essentially extend the latch point, but he hasn't just extended it just flatly, he's extended it around the Tapco magazine, which these all are. Tapco makes an extremely good magazine. As you can see, the duckbill that they have has a bunch of little ridges which are close together. This saves on weight, but you still have a very, very strong magazine. So what he did in his system, as you can see, the second rib here is supposed to go no further than that. And so he literally designed his system around modifying this magazine. Modified mags look like this, right? You can see the duckbill is almost completely gone. This mag fits in pouches. This is why we have this guy here. Now, granted, this is a little saggy, but you can see that it will fit in a normal pouch. So you have a normal sized mag, fits in a normal pouch, and goes into the gun when the bolt's closed. Your bolt hold open still works. AKs cannot do this. It is not built into the mags, it is not built into the collision cost system. It does not function in AKs.
So, what's the advantage of having that?
The advantage of having this type of system, once you've done all these mods to your SKS now essentially tells you when it's empty. So an AK is designed as a machine gun. You understand a military AK is out of ammo because it stops spitting bullets out. Oh, I must be out of ammo. Not a big deal. You turn that to a semi-auto weapon, and all of a sudden you don't know when you're out of ammunition. All of a sudden, you point your weapon at a zombie, and you pull the trigger, and it goes click instead of boom, and potentially you get eaten. With this system, your weapon locks open on the last round, and you can immediately see down your sights. You go, oh, I need more ammo. And you switch your mag out for something else, and you continue killing zombies as needed. Now, another thing that has been done to this particular magazine, it may be very difficult to see. We're probably going to have to roll in some photos. This magazine has been modified to work with stripper clips. The normal Tapco mag doesn't have the proper little notches built into it, and it's really simple. You just take essentially a 3 centimeter going forward and a 2 centimeter across cut into the rear of the feed lips of the magazine, and then what that does is that allows your stripper clip to directly engage the top of your floor plate. This is important because then when the magazine's inserted, you can take the stripper clip into the built-in stripper clip guide. All SKSs have this except for the ones designed to take the AK magazines, and those aren't what we're talking about in the first place. So if you have an SKS, it's designed to take the stripper clip there, And with these mags inserted and modified like this, in a pinch, you can throw in your normal on stripper clips SKS ammunition.
And that also makes it more effective for carrying ammo because the stripper clips are lighter, right?
That's right. If you have 3 SKS mags, like I would have in this rig here, then you've got 60 rounds. Well, that's great, but I've got another 30 in this pouch, and another God knows how many I've stuck in here, right? Well, my God, that's like having another 2.5 or another magazine and a half, right? That's another 30 rounds. That takes me from 60 to like 90. I've got, in a fully loaded situation, I've got over 100 rounds in my chest, even though I've only got 3 mags. That's really, really, really good. That's really advantageous. More importantly, let's say you convince your buddies to have an SKS, but they're too cheap or too lazy, or whatever, to go to a detachable magazine system. They've chosen to stay with the fixed. There are a lot of good reasons to stay with the fixed magazine. It's a more reliable system. It was built for the SKS. It's what the SKS was designed to handle. And they're using this guy. Well, you can still trade ammunition. He can still toss you a stripper clip full of ammo, and you can still shove it in there. And if you're intelligent, then you've still got these on your system, and you can still toss him ammunition if it really comes down to it. This is extremely important. There are other systems out there for getting detachable mags in the SKS that don't work super well. Most of them, anyway. There's one different one from the same guy, from Marcus, who did this. He has something else out there, but at this time it will not accept stripper clips into the magazines. This is really bad unless everybody that you're going to encounter who has the SKS is using that system.
Alright, so we pretty much covered your firearm, which is going to be your primary defense activity.
Yeah.
So what happens if you get a jam and something's ran up on you, or what if you lose your firearm to some sort of circumstance?
Well, we're approaching 12 minutes, so we've only got a couple minutes left. But really quickly, let's cover that. If your primary weapon, if you get a jam, the thing to do is to clear it if possible. If the zombie's within maybe 10 feet of you, then you should switch to your secondary weapon. If you don't have a secondary weapon, then it's time to think really, really seriously about what type of melee or close-in weapon do you have. Now, this is a pretty standard throwing knife, and I would never recommend using a throwing knife on a zombie. The skull's going to be probably too thick for anything serious to happen, and you're probably not going to cause enough brain trauma. What you'd want to do with something like this is to jab the weapon into the zombie's head, maybe give it a slight turn, try and pull it out. If you got any resistance and there were other Z's, just let it go. But in a situation like that, where you're going down to these, you're maybe going to take out one zombie and then run. And running is a lot of times going to be your only option, if not your best. Alright, let's kill this here, and yeah. So, Zombie 101. Primary rifle. Something that's going to serve your needs, something that's going to be lightweight, accurate, deadly. Secondary weapons should be considered a requirement. You cannot consider yourself prepared for a zombie attack or invasion if you've got one weapon. As good as that weapon may be, it doesn't matter if that weapon breaks. Which, of course, weapons are mechanical things. They're just physical objects. They're made of metal. Metal breaks. So, let's call it quits here. Peace out.